Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So this is Prisha and in this video we are going to discuss everything about FRM. What is FRM exam? Who should do FRM exam? What are the cost? How much of cost is included in doing this exam? And every detail of FRM will be discussed in this video. So let's go into the video. So now, what is FRM exam? This report, which I am going to tell today, outlines the significance of FRM exam for professionals in the field of financial risk management, highlighting its role in enhancing career opportunities and expertise in risk management. So let us just start. So ये वीडियो में हम क्या क्या डिस्कस करने वाले हैं. सबसे पहले आई विल गिव यू द ओवरव्यू ऑफ व्हाट इज FRM एग्जाम. देन आई विल टेल यू व्हाट इज द स्ट्रक्चर, कैसे होती है FRM एग्जाम. देन I will tell you all the details about the exam, which subjects are included, how much of the percent every subject includes, then what are the benefits of FRM certification. Then we will discuss about the cost breakdown of FRM certification, then the content breakdown, then how much time is required to prepare for each level, and then in last we will discuss that which are the factors that will affect the completion time. So let's just begin with the overview of FRM exam. So what is FRM exam? FRM is a globally recognized certification offered by the institute called as GARP, and it is located in USA. And then what is the purpose of FRM exam? So it is mostly designed for professionals seeking to demonstrate expertise in risk management. And then what is the significance of this exam? So this is in risk management, this is considered as the global standard of risk management globally. So anyone who has to go in the field of risk management and get a good job opportunity can consider giving this exam. So who should do FRM? तो सबसे पहले तो anyone who is a finance professional already can do this exam for getting good job opportunities, or creating their CV in a more better way. They can do this job. Then anyone who has to go in the role of risk manager can again consider it. Now there are many fresh graduates like BCom, BBA, and many engineers also. So these people, they do not get any good jobs just based on this graduation, because their CV is not so developed. So for developing their CV, they can consider giving this exam. But as I say that giving this exam is not so easy. You need a good amount of preparation time, and with that you need a good amount of dedication also in yourself. If you have that, then graduates can go for this exam. And once you will clear the exam, I can promise you that you will have a very good start to your career. Now there are professionals like CFA, CPA, CA. If they want to go in the field of risk management, they can again do it. Here also I was trying to explain that only, that professionals who want to transition their career into finance, who are not into finance but who have to go into finance, can again consider giving this exam. And then there are people who are already in the field of risk management, but they want to have a good global recognition in with their name, so they can again consider giving this exam. Now what is the structure of FRM exam? Let's just discuss this. So FRM certification consists of two distinct parts. So first is part 1 and second is part 2. So part 1 focuses on the tools and concepts of risk management, covering foundational parts. So there are 4 books in part 1. The first one is Foundation of Risk Management. Then the second one is Quantitative Analysis, and the third one is financial markets and products, and the fourth one is Valuation and Risk Models. I will explain more in detail in the coming part of video. This is just the basic structure which I am telling, that how the FRM exam is structured. Now in FRM part 2 there are 6 subjects again. and it emphasizes the application of risk management techniques in various contexts. So the first book is market risk, second book is credit risk, third is operational risk, and then fourth one is liquidity and treasury risk. And I think here I have missed out that part. Then fifth book is investment risk, and then with this there is again one more last part of FRM level 2, that is current issues. Now current issues keep on changing every year due to the environment and new news coming in. So current issue is also a part of FRM level 2. It is a very small part, it only covers a portion of 8 marks. Now the key details of FRM exam. So who can give the exam? So there is no eligibility as such, but we consider that any 12th pass can go for this exam, considering they have that amount of dedication and time to give to the exam. The dedication is very important. Now the exam dates. So FRM exam is mostly held thrice in a year. It's not twice, it's thrice in a year: May, November and August. In August, in May and November it is taken for around 1 week, and in August only 2 or 3 days are given for both the parts. So you need to schedule your dates in such way. Now what is the format of exam? So part 1 is considering both the parts are in MCQ, and part 1 has 100 questions and part 2 has 80 questions, and for both the exams you get a time period of 4 hours for completing the exam, and you get no breaks in between. No breaks are given. Now what is the passing criteria? So till now GARP has not revealed any passing criteria as such. They mostly pass on the basis of the quartiles you are getting. It's like percentile ranking only. Now in all the books you get the quartiles, you get the quartile of 1, 2, 3 or 4. If you are getting a quartile of 1 or 2 in all the books, then the chances of passing is more, because if you go to the 2, 3 or 4, then it means that you don't have that good understanding level of that subject or that book. So you need to go through it again, and then they will fail you. So it's better, like I suggest, that you should try to get a quartile of 1 or 2. If you think of getting a quartile of 1, then somehow you will come to the quartile of 2. That is why I never say anyone that think about 3 or 4. Just think of 1 or 2. Now what are the benefits of FRM certification? So first of all, it gives you a very good recognition. It gives you a benchmark in risk management, and then it will again open a lot many job opportunities. Your career opportunities will grow like anything. You will be getting many roles like risk analyst. Risk analyst may you can get any role: credit risk analyst, market risk analyst, operational risk analyst. There are so many roles available. Then risk manager, or if you have good amount of experience, you can also get a role of CRO, chief risk officer, and then you can also go in other fields like treasury risk management, and there are many more fields. And then the most important is it provides you comprehensive insights into global risk management process. It increases your knowledge acquisition a lot. Now what is the cost breakdown of FRM certification? So how much is the cost required for doing this certification? So the very first is the enrollment fees, that is of around $400. Everyone has to pay this fees, and this is a one-time non-refundable fees. Now after this you need to pay a early registration fees. This is the exam fees, and the early registration fees is $600 per part. For part 1 and part 2 it is different, but for part 2 you don't have to pay enrollment fee. Like for part 1 you need to pay both enrollment and exam fees, but for part 2 you only need to pay exam fees. there is no need to pay enrollment fees again. And there are two kinds of exam fees. One is early registration, that you are registering for the exam earlier, and if you want to register for the exam in like there is very close, the exam is very close, and then you have to register, then you need to pay more fees. I don't consider that anyone should go for this standard registration till the time it's not very urgent for you. And standard registration fee is again $800. And then there is one late registration. This is not very important. And now then after this you will also require a cost of GARB book. So if you register for the exam, GARB will definitely give its digital books for free only. But if you need physical books, then you need to again pay $250 to $300 for buying those physical books. But I suggest to study that everyone should study from the books known as Kaplan Schweizer. Now this is a third party material, but if you are studying from this book, you are very much prepared. Like you can for content you can refer Kaplan Schweizer's, and for question bank, you can go to Analyst Prep. So buying all this material will again cost you around $300 to $1,000, and in Indian rupees it will cost you something around rupees 5,000. Like buying both the Kaplan Schweizer and as well as Analyst Prep. Now there are many institutions who are selling these question banks, but I don't recommend to buy the question bank separately, because anyways they are also copy pasting it from Analyst Prep only. So better to buy from Analyst Prep only. And then if you want, I can also give you the free PDF of all the Analyst Prep question bank. Just DM me, I will just text me on my number. I will mention it here in the description only. I will give you all the materials in the PDF format. Now yes, one thing I missed, that you also need a BA2 plus calculator, and then that calculator will cost you something around rupees 3,500. So you need to buy that also. Just a minute, let me write it properly. This calculator will cost you something around 3,500. So you need to buy that also. And then if you are not able to clear any exam in the first attempt, or you are not able to clear that part, then you need to again pay the exam fees. So exam retake fees will only be there if you are not able to clear in any exam in the first attempt. And then because these exams are only held at few centers in India, so you can also consider travel expenses. If you don't live in a big or tier 1 city, then you need to have some travel expenses also. So for part 1, the estimated cost is something around $1,000 to $1,500. And and this is for early registration. For standard registration it will again increase, and for FRM part 2 it's something around $600 to $1,000. And if you are taking coaching, then some extra expenses will again add on. Now what is the content breakdown of FRM exams? So FRM part 1 has 4 books. This is the first book, this is the second book, this is third, and this is the fourth book. The first book is Foundations of Risk Management, and it represents 20% of FRM part 1. It means it will be 20 questions will be asked from this book, and it focuses on essential principles of risk management. And there are many case studies in this book. Now the second book is a quantitative analysis, and it is more of mathematics, and it again accounts for 20% of part 1, emphasizing on mathematical and statistical methods in risk management. So this from here again 20 questions will come. And now this book is considered as little tough. Many students tell that this book is tough, so you need to prepare good for this book. Now this is the third book is Financial Markets and Products, and it comprises of 30% of part 1 exploring the various financial instruments and markets. So it is more about futures and options, swaps, all such content will be there in this book, and this from here 30 questions come. Now this is again a very tough book, and many students found it very tricky, and in something like that they always have complained from this book. So you need to read this very sincerely and practice as many questions as possible. This again accounts for 30% of part 1, and this section deals with the model used for asset valuation and risk management. So here we are done with the part 1. Now what is there in part 2? So in part 2 there are again 6 books. The first one is market risk. Now part 2 is more part 2 in part 2 we are going to focus more on advanced risk management topics relevant to financial institutions. So market risk consists of 20% of your part 2, dealing with the risk of losses in financial markets. And then credit risk again considers again accounts for 20% of part 2, and it focuses on risk of default by borrowers. Now these books are giving the very detailed knowledge about each risk. Like in market risk you will get a very detailed knowledge about market risk. In credit risk it will again go in the whole depth of credit portion. And then in operational risk it also considers 20% of part 2. This addresses the risks arising from operational failures. Now these three are the most important books. They cover the major portion of part 2, first, second and third. Then the liquidity is considered a little easy book, and it represents 15% of part 2, covering risk related to liquidity and cash management. Then there is investment risk. It also accounts for 15% of part 2 and focuses on risk involved in managing investments. This is more into portfolios and investment management. Then you have this in last you have this book called Current Issues. This both are included in one book only. Both this fifth and sixth subject both are included in one book only. And Current Issues is will discuss contemporary challenges and trends in financial market. So this book will give you the knowledge that what's going on in market in current situation. So this considers 10% of part 2. Now for FRM part 1 and part 2, each requires what is the preparation time for FRM. So for part 1 and part 2 both the parts separately requires a preparation of around 300 hours, and in months if I tell that each level requires 6 months of preparation time before giving the exam. So we can say that if you consider to take part 1 in May and you're sure about your exam, and you are sure that you will get a good result, then you can start preparing after giving part 1 exam for part 2 exam in November, and then ideally by January of next year you will be a FRM. So this is the ideal timeline. You can decide it according to your work pressure and studies. You can decide when to give the exam, but this is the ideal timeline. Now what are the factors that can affect your completion time? So if you don't have very much educational background from the field of finance or mathematics, then you will need more of preparation time. But if you have this knowledge inside you, and you are working in these kind of financial institutions, or you already have a good knowledge about it, then you will require less preparation time. Then the people who are full time professionals, and they don't have so much of time to study every day, like they cannot dedicate 2 to 3 hours of studying daily, then they will require several more months to complete the course. And then which study resources should you use? So for study resources, I have already told that you can use Kaplan Schweizer, and I am telling you this because if you will go through the books of Garp, why have I added this portion here? Because if you will go through the books of Garp, that is very lengthy. Of course, it gives you a lot of knowledge in detail, but then that book is very lengthy. So if you go and sit and study from that book, and then it will require a lot of time for you to study, and you will not be able to complete your portion early and go for the exam early. So you need to stretch your timeline to 1 year for completing one part. If you're not having more time, then you should definitely go for Kaplan Schweizer. So I think I have covered all the points regarding FRM exam. If you have any more doubt, then you can text me. I will just give my mobile number and my WhatsApp number in the description below. And if you need any help from me, you can talk to me anytime. Thank you very much.